This isn't a game that'll actually be the one to say, oh, it's time to come back to it. Like, this isn't a game that'll actually be the one to say, oh, it's time to come back to it. Like, this isn't a game that'll actually be the one to say, oh, it's time to come back to it. Unless you really got to scratch that collegiate football itch.
Sim football critic again. Good. I say simulation. I know a lot of us use that word, loosely. Really what we're looking for as a community, we say simulation, but also we need to see replication. What we're looking for is for a game to replicate what we see on TV. There's a lot of areas that it misses on, such as my pet peeve, player movement. You still can pull off the zigzag running at times, and these guys just don't move in an ordinary fashion. They just don't move like football players. So that is something that you still may harp on as you play this game, as well as the O-line, D-line interactions. It's a tad bit better than previous years, but it still seems to be a little bit scripted. I've noticed also there's other situations where you get pulled into blocks slightly.
Thank you. T-Star, Simheads United. And you all know what time it is. Let's get right to this. Recently, in some comments that I saw on a fellow team member's videos, I noticed the Sim Standard made some comments that I think were depicting. I think they were unnecessary. They called us darkness, they called us angry, they called us rebellious, and basically said that, we were basically, I want to say, savages. And can you all believe that? That was the most selfish and indignant thing that I have ever heard of. But the reason why I opened this video up with the NCAA 13 review, I wanted you all to see what the Sim Standard actually said about this game, and I wanted you all to see it and hear it for yourselves. Now, with that being said, Electronic Arts stock right now is just doing terrible. The NCAA game was a flop. We all know that. The opening night was a flop, and the game itself just hadn't been selling the way that Electronic Arts want this game to sell. Now, with that being said, the comments that the Sim Standard made on this video, I did do a reply, and I want to share that reply to you guys. And it reads as such: the Sim Standard, in the beginning, your group was laboring for the simulation and using All Pro Football 2K8 as a reference guide. If I'm not mistaken, it's the same game today as it was back then. And you look past the flaws that you say this game has today. Then in the flash of an eye, the group as a whole was against 2K8 and moved to start laboring for EA Madden 12. Now, it's two ways to look at this. One being you never labored for simulation and was only using the community to make Madden a better game. Or was it the Sim Standard, the group was actually casual gamers and out for selfish reasons? You misquote exposing the truth to the community as anger to mask the bias in your videos, but it is evident as to how your practice is, and that too shall soon be exposed. We aren't angry with the Sim Standard because of your laboring for Madden 12 or Madden 13, do you? What we're in disagreement over is the way you show bias in your videos when it comes to the truth, such as NCAA 13. You know it's not the best simulated game, yet you parade it as it's the defined standard in the community presently. If it fails to represent a commendable development of a simulated football game, and to this you have said yourself, it wasn't, in your opinion, a well-done development of simulation, it questions what the Sim Standard represents. Why do you continue to equate the community to entertain a game that, one, isn't a good representation of simulation, and 2, mislead the community and look beyond the fact that it was a failure as far as representing simulation. In the end, what we realize is that replication of simulated football games will be in all football games made by any company. In my eyes, I believe that the Madden and the NCAA 13 are basically casual football games, being as though they have not been deemed as a good representation of simulation. However, Backbreaker and the All-Pro Football 2K8 are amongst the best. I'm Tony Starr, and again, thank you guys for joining me.